Welcome, friend. Before you go any further, I want you to take a breath. Wherever you're watching this from, your kitchen, your car, your bed at the end of a long day, I want you to know that this next 20 minutes was made for you. Today we're not talking about hustle. We're not talking about hype. We're talking about identity, about who you actually are underneath everything the world has tried to convince you that you are. Because here's the truth. You are a daughter of God. And victory is your portion. Let that sit for a second. Not victory might happen to you someday if you work hard enough. Not victory is something you have to chase down and wrestle to the ground. Victory is your portion, meaning it already belongs to you. It's already been assigned to your life. The question isn't whether you'll walk in it. The question is whether you'll believe it's already yours. The lie of not enough. Let's start honest. Most of us didn't wake up one day and decide to doubt ourselves. It happened slowly. A comment here, a rejection there, a season where things fell apart and nobody explained why. A relationship that ended and left you wondering what was wrong with you. A mistake you made that you never quite forgave yourself for. And somewhere along the way, a lie moved in and got comfortable. The lie that says you are not enough. Not smart enough, not pretty enough, not disciplined enough, not spiritual enough, not a good enough mother, daughter, friend, wife, woman. That lie is loud. But it is not true, and it is not the final word over your life. Here's what's actually true. Before you accomplished a single thing, before you fixed a single flaw, before you earned a single ounce of approval, you were already claimed, already chosen. Already loved with a love that has nothing to do with your performance. That's not a self-help slogan. That's the foundation everything else in this message is built on. You don't fight for your worth. You stand on it. What it means to be a daughter. There's a difference between a servant and a daughter. A servant works for approval. A servant is always wondering if she's done enough to earn her place at the table. But a daughter already has a place at the table. She doesn't work for love, she works from love, because it was given to her first. If you are a daughter of God, that changes everything about how you carry yourself. It changes how you walk into a room. It changes how you respond when someone criticizes you. It changes how you handle failure, because failure doesn't threaten your identity. It was never based on your performance to begin with. Think about how a child who knows she is deeply loved by her parents carries herself differently than a child who is unsure of that love. The first child takes risks. She's not afraid to fail, because failing doesn't unmake her as a daughter. The second child plays it safe, because she's terrified that one wrong move will cost her the love she's not sure she has. Too many of us have been living like the second child, anxious, careful, small, because somewhere we absorb the idea that love and belonging are things we have to earn and keep earning. But a daughter of God rests, not because life is easy, but because her place isn't up for negotiation. It was settled before she ever did anything to deserve it. Victory doesn't mean the absence of battle. Now, let's be honest about something else. Saying victory is your portion doesn't mean you won't face hard seasons. It doesn't mean the bills will always be paid on time, or the diagnosis will always come back clear, or the relationship will always be easy. Victory doesn't mean the absence of a fight. Victory means the outcome of the fight has already been decided, even while you're still standing in the middle of it. Think about it this way. If you know how a story ends, the middle chapters hit differently. You can read about a character going through hardship without panicking, because you already know they make it through. That's what it means to walk in victory while you're still in the battle. You're not naive about the difficulty. You're just not shaken by it, because you already know how your story ends. Your story ends in victory, not because you're strong enough to force it there, but because that's who wrote the story to begin with. So if you're in a hard season right now, a diagnosis, a broken relationship, a financial crisis, a season of grief, I want you to hear this clearly. You are not disqualified from victory just because you're currently in a battle. The battle is not evidence that you've been abandoned. Sometimes the battle is simply the chapter before the breakthrough, releasing what you've been carrying. I want to talk for a moment about the weight so many women carry without even realizing it. The weight of trying to hold everything together. The weight of being the strong one for everyone else while nobody checks on you. The weight of old wounds you never had space to actually process because life just kept moving and you had to keep moving with it. If that's you, I want you to hear this. You were never meant to carry that alone. Somewhere along the way, a lot of us confused strength with self-sufficiency. We thought being strong meant never needing help, never admitting we were tired, never letting anyone see the cracks. But real strength isn't the refusal to need anyone. Real strength is knowing exactly who to lean on when the weight gets too heavy. Put it down. Whatever you've been gripping so tightly, the resentment, the guilt over things you can't undo, the fear of what tomorrow holds, you're allowed to put it down. Not because it doesn't matter, but because you were never built to carry it by yourself. A daughter doesn't have to prove she can handle everything alone. She has a father who carries the weight with her. Walking it out. So what does this actually look like on a Tuesday afternoon? What does it look like when you're not in a moment of inspiration, but back in the middle of ordinary, exhausting, unremarkable life? It looks like catching the lie the moment it whispers and answering it out loud, even if your voice shakes. It looks like showing up to the hard conversation instead of shrinking from it, because you know your worth isn't riding on the outcome. It looks like resting when you're tired instead of pushing through out of fear that stopping means falling behind. It looks like forgiving yourself for the version of you that didn't know better yet. It looks like getting back up. Not because you're unbreakable, but because getting back up is simply what a daughter who knows who she is does. Not perfectly, not without tears, but she gets back up. Victory isn't a single dramatic moment. Most of the time, it's 1,000 small decisions to believe the truth over the lie, made on ordinary days when nobody's watching and nothing feels particularly triumphant. It's choosing, again and again, to walk like someone who already knows how the story ends. So today, wherever you are, I want you to say this out loud if you can, or at least in your heart if you can't. I am not what happened to me. I am not my worst mistake. I am not the sum of every doubt anyone has ever spoken over my life. I am a daughter. I am loved before I do anything to earn it. And the victory I've been striving for was never something I had to chase. It was already assigned to me before I ever entered the room. Carry that with you today. Not as a slogan, but as the ground you stand on when everything else feels shaky. You are a daughter, and victory is your portion. Thank you for spending this time with me. If this spoke to you, I'd love for you to share it with someone who needs to hear it today. I'll see you in the next one.